Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Josh Halter, owner of The BioDude. You can visit me on my website at www.thebiodude.com. Check me out on Facebook. Of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And today, many of you guys have been asking, I am setting up a 75-gallon Terra Sahara Bearded Dragon Bioactive terrarium. I'm going to show you guys what goes into my kits, as well as how the system works, as well as go over the step-by-step on how to build it with all of the BioDude products. So, the very first thing that we got is my Terra Sahara. This is one of my 36-quart bags. The Terra Sahara is a one-of-a-kind desert substrate that not only stays dry in the middle, stays dry in the top layer, but wet and moist in the middle and bottom layers for optimum root growth, as well as springtail and isopod development, while maintaining the very low humidity levels required for your desert dwelling herps. So, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up the bag. Right like this. Okay. And then I'm going to take the Sahara, and I'm just going to dump it into the tank. Right like this. Now, one thing you're going to notice with this substrate is very dense. And a little bit goes a long way. For a 75-gallon, I'm going to be using 2 bags of my 36 quart. And then I'm going to get the other bag and do the exact same thing. A lot of substrate. Now, you guys are probably looking at this saying, why do I need so much? One thing that makes the Terra Sahara so unique is that it retains all tunnels and burrows. And like I said earlier, retains all it retains all the pockets needed for proper development in your plants, as well as hold humidity in the proper layers, which it makes an also egg burrowing deposit site for many of your desert animals, as well as helps them stay nice and hydrated. So, I got the first layer of the Sahara in that you can see, and I got it evenly distributed. Minimally 3 inches depth. So it's going to stay dry up here, wet in the middle, moist in the middle and bottom layers. The next step that I'm going to do is to help spread the humidity out a little bit, is I'm actually just going to give the tank a very light watering. Right like this. You don't need a lot. This water looks like it's floating, and it will briefly. And then it'll start falling into the pockets. There we go. Did not put a lot in. And what you're going to notice is the water slowly fall through the cracks and down to the bottom. So, the next step in getting your Bearded Dragon terrarium set up, this step is optional. It's really going to depend on where you live. If you live in an extremely dry area where your air is always dry, you're going to need to mix in some of this sphagnum moss. But if you live in an area where it's pretty humid, like Florida, typically you don't need to add this in there because your soil won't dry out as fast. So, to use the sphagnum moss, we go ahead and open up the bag, and then I'm just going to add some water right into the bag. Okay, after water has been added, I'm going to take it, I'm going to make sure that it's nice and moist. Okay, nice and easy. I'm going to dump the entire bag into the tank. Now, as your tank matures, you can absolutely add more of this if you'd like. If you have like a leopard gecko, this is awesome to mix into the substrate itself. But for a bearded dragon, I mix this in mainly to, like I said, help keep your soil a little bit more humid in the middle and bottom layers, depending on where you live. It's helpful for that, but it also provides a snack for your springtails and isopods that are deep in the layers of your substrate, which I will get into, which are your tank cleaners and things like that. So, as you can see here, how I did that, and I evenly distributed the water. Now, another optional item that you can add is my southern palm bark. I really like this stuff because it is from the axils of palm trees that grow here in Texas, collected from herbicide, pesticide-free area. These are essentially really nutritious snacks for your bugs that slowly break down but really benefit your soil long term. And when you're dealing with a desert substrate, it's one of those nice things to add in there to spread your microfauna around so they're not as centralized in one area. Again, this isn't included with the kit, but this is something, you know, that you can do. Nice and covered up there. Now, as far as your bioactivity goes, there's a couple different ways that you can do it with bearded dragons. Personally, I like to go with a couple different options. I use your isopods, which are your crustaceans that go through all levels of the substrate, depending on the species, break down organic matter such as the feces, leaf litter, biodegradables, and turn it into organic nutrition. Springtails, they do the same thing, but are more concentrated deep in the substrate or in moist pockets. I also like to utilize my BioShot. I'm sure if you guys saw my video, my BioShot is essentially a supplement of beneficial microorganisms and nutrients for bioactive vivaria. It has mycorrhizal fungi and archaea in it, which essentially help promote aerobic bacteria as well as provide macronutrients to your plants as far as their a byproduct of their composition processes, which also aid in your overall bioactivity and soil health. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to dump in the BioShot right like this throughout the entire enclosure. Okay? From there, I'm going to add in my springtail culture. Okay? I'm going to disperse them along the cool side. Then I'm going to take my isopods. Okay, I have dwarf purple, dwarf whites, dwarf purples and powder blues in here. And you're going to spread them around, and you can see a group of them there, figuring out which way that they're going to go. And they're just going to go deep into the soil. Now, another thing that I like to add, and you guys are going to be like, what? Superworms and mealworms of all life stages. What they're going to do is burrow deep into the substrate, help create those necessary air pockets, as well as breed, providing fun snacks for your dragon as he decides to dig in his bioactive vivarium. So, after we get our bugs established, the next step is adding our top layer of biodegradables, which is our leaf litter. You can use any size biodegradables as far as what the dude offers. Pretty simple. And I'm going to do the magnolia on top. I like to spread the magnolia around because it gives you a lot of surface area for your bugs to munch on, which again spreads out your microfauna, which is extremely important. Then I'm going to add my oak. Typically, when you order a Dude Bioactive kit, it only includes one type of leaves. They range from maple to oak to magnolia. Okay, check this out. Alright, now, as you can see here, it's looking more and more like something out of nature. Okay, now my favorite part is decorating. The best part about bearded dragons is that they're extremely intelligent. They like to dig, they like to burrow, they like to eat. If you plant healthy edibles in their enclosure, mint, oregano, hibiscus, opuntia cacti, various succulents, ficus, the list goes on and on. It provides enrichment for them as animals as a whole and allows them to forage naturally as they would in the wild. And it makes your tank smell nice, and it makes your tank look nice. So the first thing that I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put get some of my wood established in here. So I got some of my grapevine right here, which this is by far one of my favorite woods to work with in a vivarium setting. It's beautiful curvature. After that, I'm going to add in this bad boy. This is called elephant feed. Grows like a weed in Africa. They grow it by the truckloads and feed it to elephants. This is one of the easiest plants to grow. You can cut it anywhere and put it in the ground and it will grow. You can literally cut it back to almost a bonsai size in your terrarium without harming the plant. If your bearded dragon ingests it, it is completely harmless. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it out of the pot here. Alright, and I'm going to move this piece over because I know where it's going to go. I'm going to plant this bad boy right here in the back. Oh yeah. And then you're gonna, when you're planting larger items like this, one of the most important things to make sure is that you have its root base covered. And you want to make sure that it has places to go as far as the roots grow. Okay. And then we're gonna put this, I think, right like this. Debating here. How to do this. There we go. There we go. Yeah, looks nice. I'm digging it. Next thing I'm going to plant is mint. Organically grown mint. Take it out of its sleeve now. I'm going to pull it out. Now, I am planting this with the intent of it getting destroyed. And so I'm always going to put it somewhere that's really easy for me to replace, if Hercules does indeed try to mess it up. Next thing I'm going to plant, well, look, you can see one of the ISOs right there. Well, he was there. He's not happy. Oh, yeah, there he goes. There you go, you got it. I'm gonna plant some rosemary. Now, you always want to make sure that these are clean plants and from a good source. So, next thing that I'm going to put in, I think another piece of grapevine. To do that, actually gonna close that. Okay. Okay, it's coming together, I promise. So then, I got another, look at this piece right here. I'm gonna put this, I'm gonna bury this halfway. Because what's gonna happen is this is gonna slowly degrade in here, very slowly. Your bugs are gonna love it. And because of that, it's close to the heating spot, it's going to make cleanup a little bit easier for you. Then, my all-time favorite accent is ghost wood. I've been wanting to carry this stuff for years, and I'm so happy that I got it. I'm going to put that like that right there. And I'm actually going to anchor the bottom part. Oh yeah, I'm digging it. So, next, I got a small cacti. This is one of the cactuses that I sell. Pontia danicolor is what this one is called. Does great as an edible. Naturally, very high in calcium, which is fantastic for your lizards that like to eat. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna plant it right like this. And it's okay to get the leaves mixed in with the dirt. Okay, now, my bearded dragon kits do not come with these plants. And the reason I don't include plants is just because everyone wants to do their bearded dragon vivs their own way. And I want to make sure that I allow people to build them themselves since bearded dragons are so unique. Now, I got another piece of cactus right here that I'm gonna put in. Okay. All right. I'm gonna put this right underneath the hot spots because when he is sitting there grazing in the sun, he has something that he can munch on. And I can tell you guys right now, these small cacti, these cacti are one of the easiest things in the world to grow. You can literally take this pear right here. I could break this off, and I could plop it right here in the ground, and it'll grow. No problems at all. Very, very hardy. Very, very easy. So, this is what I got so far. Now, as far as a feeding dish, I like to use something like this right here. And I'd always put it right here. His water dish will be over here on the cool side. And now, I think what is next is adding the monster into the new creation. Let's see. There you go, buddy. So, guys, this is what I do. This is so easily done. This took me 20 minutes. Your tank smells better. Your tank looks better. You give one of the most popular pet reptiles that have the coolest little adaptations, one of the most natural, healthiest husbandry techniques available in the United States right now. What I really, as far as maintenance goes, what I really want you guys to mainly take in is you need to mist the tank every single day. I usually mist it for about a minute, or you can do a light watering once a week. The biggest thing is you want to make sure that you're keeping the substrate at its correct humidity level. As long as you're following those guidelines, you shouldn't have any problems. Just like I said earlier, the substrate should always be moist in the middle and bottom layers and always dry at the top. And that's what it's supposed to do. Up top here, I have my 22-inch LED with my LED props, which I can tell you really lights this tank up nicely, especially for a 75-gallon. As you can see, it's evenly distributing the light with the props a good 10 inches past its back end there. Over here for heating and lighting, I have the 150-watt spot and a coil UVB. I am also going to be providing Hercules with one of the Power Sun UVB bulbs as well, so he gets as much UVB as possible. You do not always have to feed your bearded dragon on a dish in a setup like this. It is completely optional and up to you how much you do want to feed him or her as far as being in the dish or without. Your dubia roaches will burrow within the Sahara, and they will actually breed within the Sahara if you end up getting a pair in there, helping the bioactivity. But you can also feed them in the dish when it comes to the burrowers. Again, guys, my name is Josh Halter. You can find all these kits and more at thebiodude.com. Follow me on Facebook, subscribe to me on YouTube. The dude abides.